Today I'm starting a multi-part series hoping to prove without a shadow of a doubt that Freemasons stole, commandeered, and weaponized old world or Tartarian buildings, whatever you want to call them. I'm hoping to show that they didn't build or even contribute to building them. Once I've established that these occultists are stealing the glory and the credit for these old world buildings, I'll make a video I'm really excited about, kind of disproving Tartaria. The idea that this scientific recent civilization created these, and show biblically what really happened. Just noting here, we're looking at the inside of a Masonic lodge, zooming in on the pillars, columns, old world architecture as the backdrop. And this all has to do with Solomon's temple. Of course, we know that Freemasonry is all about metaphorically building King Solomon's temple, and they know the true origins of these buildings. That's how they stole them. And they try to hide this from you because they see you as the vulgar and profane, the uninitiated, vile multitude, because you haven't sought after occult, which means hidden, gnosis, which means knowledge, hidden knowledge. In this way, just like the Egyptian and Babylonian mystery religions which Freemasonry and other occult groups are modeled after, they make themselves the arbiter or gatekeeper of truth and therefore, in their minds, your God. Notice here it says, asking the question, if it could be built, then why are we not still building it?
The Breakers. One of the last great monuments of a family that once ruled American high society. Vanderbilt, wealth was never the end game. It was the foundation for something much larger.
Over 130,000 square feet, 70 rooms, 33 bedrooms, 20 bathrooms, 27 fireplaces, 5 floors including the basement and tunnels, and 13 acres of prime Newport real estate.
Now, to understand how this American palace came to be, we first have to understand the history of the Vanderbilt family who manifested it.
Hold up. I'm sorry, sir. Manifested? What do you mean? Buildings are built, not manifested.
America was young and hungry for greatness. This home is the story of the Vanderbilts, a family that rose to the heights of American royalty, only to watch their empire slowly dissolve into cultural memory.
This is, of course, the sign of the Master of the Second Veil, Masonic hidden hand that we see everybody do. And this is only one occurrence of at least 3 in this 40-minute long video that I found that I'll point out.
Let's be honest, this is a palace. This is not a home. I think there's this misconception in America that we don't have architecture that rivals Europe, but in this video, we are going to give you an in-depth tour, I believe for the first time ever, of the Breakers Mansion. Let's just focus our attention again towards the ceiling. This is all casted plaster, and there is tons of symbolism and
Notice that right when he said symbolism, it cut to the second occurrence of the hidden hand.
sacred geometry throughout this whole house. For instance, you have the flower of life going around the corner of this entire room, various types of marbles from all over the world. Again, looking up, you have the Vanderbilt family crest with the 3 acorns. You'll find that throughout the entire house. This is like my Super Bowl. I have looked at this house online for so many years, and to be standing in this room, it's nothing short of surreal. Looking up, we have these 4 chandeliers, and I want to point this out. So these were not only electric, but gas. And this is one of the first homes in America that had electricity. So not only did you have the electric current, you had gas. So these were fire-lit chandeliers. Imagine that. All of New York's high society in this room, all the power in this emerging nation in this one room. Those chandeliers are so heavy that they're actually anchored to the steel beams at the top of the house. And this home is a Freemason structure, meaning, and this home is a Freemason structure, meaning that it is just stone, steel, and brick holding up this house, which is nothing short of incredible. I do believe that people were able to build homes like this back in the day because maybe the collective consciousness was a bit higher, maybe people had more time to devote themselves to their craft. It's one of the rooms where you walk in here and you feel it deep in your soul, just with all the ornate details. For instance, look at the size of this marble fireplace. Look at the sheer proportions of the space. The columns in the space, these are actually rose alabaster. These are single pieces of marble that were turned on a lathe. Typically columns, they are stacked on top of each other, and it's very rare that you find one giant chunk of marble for a column. And another thing that makes this home so special is the majority of the furniture is original. In this dining room, we have 34 seats, again, for the top members of that Gilded Age class. And I want to keep our attention on the ceiling. If you look up, that is a painting of Aurora greeting the dawn, which is very fitting because we are facing 2 weeks. You can see now the morning light is pouring into the space. It gives you that warmth in the soul of the home. And I do want to mention, this was a summer home. This was built to only serve 2 months of the entire year. Put that in perspective. That's the type of wealth that they had back then. The ornateness is on every inch of this room. This is 22 karat gold leafing. And I want to just point out a few of the symbols. So if you look, you have...
The caduceus is also called Hermes' wand. Hermes is Mercury in Roman mythology and Thoth in Egyptian mythology. This is where the phrase "as above, so below" comes from. This is also what the mosaic pavement, the black and white checkerboard floor in a Freemason lodge, is modeled after. The Hermetic principle of correspondence. And I think it's likely that many of these symbols had other interpretations and meanings, and they've just been hijacked by occultists.
The caduceus, which is on ambulances, it's on trash trucks. The caduceus, in more esoteric principles, was symbolic of a spiritual awakening. So you have the 2 snakes going up the pillar, which is symbolic of a kundalini rising in a bit more of an esoteric sense, which kind of makes me think that back in the day, they were more in touch with, I guess, the spiritual side of things, which in America today, comment down below what you think of that, because I do believe it's lacking. People associate crystals with spirituality, and I can only imagine that they probably serve some purpose, maybe more than decorative, in my opinion.
The breakers is full of what we call sacred geometry, such as the flower of life and the Fibonacci sequence. Reoccurring patterns symbolize the connection between the material and the spiritual realms, bridging the finite with the infinite. And it's said when humans engage with spaces infused with these designs, they subconsciously align with a sense of cosmic order, balance, and harmony.
One thing I want to mention about the billiards room is this is where the gentlemen would retire after dinner. They'd come in here and smoke cigars and mainly discuss the politics of the day. And I would infer, just based off of what we've seen thus far, they were much more diplomatic when discussing politics than, let's say, in 2024. That's all I'm going to say about that. Let's continue on. So leaving this room here, this is actually where the ladies and the women would retire after dinner. And I really want to point out specific details. If you spin around, Blake, we'll get a nice shot of this. This is original platinum painted on the walls here. This has never been retouched. And we have depicted 8 of the 9 muses here in platinum. Again, they've never been restored. Something we haven't touched on yet is the actual value of the furnishings and the art in this home. For instance, this is an original John Singer Sargent painting of Cornelius Vanderbilt II. Right across, very fittingly, his daughter Gladys, who actually inherited the house, and she was the one who actually turned over this mansion to the Preservation Society to preserve it so all of America, all of the world could come and get something from this beautiful home. This is, I've said this like 5 times, my favorite fireplace in the house. This has to be the best example of gilded bronze. This is agate in the middle here, and this is surrounded by Campan marble. And if we look up, you can even see mirrored on the ceiling that feminine design with these coffered ceilings inlaid with the flower of life. And I really want to point this out. The house is such a beautiful display of the masculine and the feminine. And leaving the morning room, I'm going to now show you, and exiting the library, these are pocket doors here, and this is actually a prime example here. That is the caduceus in the hand of Hermes with the wings. It could be also Mercury. Throughout history, it's been Thoth, Mercury, and Hermes, basically the same god with different names. And here he's depicted perfectly on this door where we started the tour. Again, with those risers that are 2 inches lower than the average staircase. And even, I'm going to stop here and point this out. Look at the details, even on the railings. Again, flower of life right here, sacred geometry, the caduceus with the snakes going up, with the flame right there, the eternal flame. The symbolism in this house is pretty next level, and I didn't expect that myself. This is for the staff. So there were 20 staff that were inside the house, and then 20 staff that worked the land. And back here we have 33 guest bedrooms, and we'll pop into a few of them. This was actually the staff kitchen back in the day. It's empty now, but even you can look in the staff kitchen. Check this out. A view like this. And just to really reiterate that, so in total, there are 48 bedrooms in this house. And in this section of the house for the staff, there are 33 of the 48 bedrooms.
I think it's really interesting and important to note that he started the tour with saying that there's 33 bedrooms, as if that was the total amount of bedrooms, and then later on we find out, oh well, there's 48 bedrooms and only 33 of them are for staff. So I guess it was more important for him to mention the staff bedrooms at the beginning of the video than the total bedrooms. And this of course has nothing to do with the 33 degrees of Freemasonry.
And to my left, this is actually the caretaker's cottage, because this is technically a summer cottage, but this is actually the caretaker's house. And we are about to actually go underneath the breakers to the, I guess, the workings of the house. So this, you can actually tour when you come visit the breakers. This is technically a specialty tour, and I'm so excited to see this, because apparently, especially in New York, a lot of these older cities were built on top of each other. So the tunnel system, especially in a house like this, oh wow, we're going down. I didn't realize we were going this far down. Look at this. It's essentially like a fallout shelter. What? So this is my first time seeing this. Check this out. This is a tunnel that connects to the service quarters of the house. And again, this is my first time seeing this, so we're seeing it together in real time. Check this out. Again, you've got barrel vaulted ceilings, reinforced with steel. Oh wow. And this is a picture of the construction of the house with horse and buggy. Again, it's a Freemason stone structure here. Of the construction of the house with horse and buggy. Again, it's a Freemason stone structure here, so you have just the limestone and the brick being built right on site there. This is almost a little look into the history of America, and specifically the Industrial Revolution, because this home directly reflects the technology that came about during that time period. So this is the original Otis elevator hydraulic motor right here. It's not in use anymore.
So this is from newportmansions.org. The Breakers was built from 1893 to 1895. 2 years. If you don't believe me, go look it up for yourself. 2 years, they claim, this entire building, inside and out, furnished, finished, was completed. As I just showed you, they're saying that they had some of the first electric elevators in it. And I just have to point out how difficult it is to retrofit a stone building like that, a solid stone building with elevator shafts. You have to just think about some of the technology that they say was out around this time. You have, allegedly, the first electric elevator, which was supposedly invented in 1880 by Werner von Siemens. The first car in 1886, Benz patent motor wagon Carl Benz. trains in the late 17 and early 1800s, but they say the first power tool wasn't invented until 1895. So this is just obviously ridiculous what we're being told. Before the first power tool, we have perfectly machined, steam engine operated trains capable of carrying hundreds of tons of material halfway across the country. Electric motor operated elevators, tugboats and steam shovels, and gas powered vehicles. All before the first electric power tool. If this isn't adding up for you, then good. It shouldn't be. Because I hate to break it to you, but work like this is not possible without power tools. And this is metal, so it's honestly likely that this wasn't power tools and it was laser engraved. Now, before I wrap this up, I have a few more clips here from a different tour that he did with some very revealing references that he makes. The clip starts by panning over the Masonic two-headed eagle.
Goes. The home was originally built by wealthy Dutch owners in Amsterdam in the 17th century, over 400 years ago. Then, if you can believe this, the home was then dismantled and shipped across the Atlantic Ocean to the Upper West Side in 1845. So while this is extremely rare, I've actually heard of this before with freestanding stone masonry structures being built and then disassembled only to be moved and reassembled. But to ship this across the Atlantic Ocean in 1845?
If you've ever taken apart and reassembled a building made out of even wooden studs, you would know how nonsensical this story is. They didn't disassemble and reassemble this brick and mortar building twice.
As if this story wasn't a tall tale enough, then apparently in 1910, it was relocated again from the Upper West Side to Gramercy Park, the neighborhood where we're currently standing. Very interesting with a lot of these older houses in the city. The true history is extremely hard to find.
More sacred geometry, flower of life right there. Says symbolic of the fabric of the universe. What else here? Then at the very end, again, you have more of that beautiful limestone with, now you can really get close-ups on the coats of arms here on these stained glass windows. And then here, look, you even have Isaac, it says. It feels like we're in a church, doesn't it? It feels, there's a reverence and a weight to this structure that I hope we're conveying in the camera. Based off of all that we're speaking about with this symbolism, I want to note that it definitely appears that people back in the day, I hate that term, it's kind of very general, back in the day, but it seems like they were closer with God. And God isn't something you really talk about in a home tour on YouTube or on social media in general, but just based off of all the symbolism, specifically the flower of life, that's everywhere. Anything pre-war will have those symbols of flower of life. And I just noticed this. This is the double-headed eagle, which is the symbol of the Holy Roman Empire in Germany. And don't ask me why I know all this. It's like one of my interests, just looking up like symbols and occult things. Symbols and occult things. Looking into the history of these homes that we're touring. Hence why nowadays I'm only filming homes like this. I don't think I could look at another white box. A little fireplace with a religious motif over top. Actually, that's a guy holding a head, is that not?
Yes.
That's a woman holding a head. We've got what looks like a monk here with a cross. To this solarium at the back of the house. Look how beautiful this is. Look at the metalwork here. You have this huge seashell gargoyle fountain front and center here with a little pool at the bottom, and then this beautiful glasswork here built into.
That's all I have for today. If anyone has any interesting topics, info, or video ideas, feel free to email them to me at the email below. And remember, the government is the dangerous, thieving, organized criminal enterprise you believe would take over in the absence of government. Thanks for watching. If you appreciate the content, be sure to turn on bell notifications, like, comment, share, or subscribe.